Welcome to the Metal Bob Live Podcast. I'm your host, Metal Bob. Today's show is brought to you by Legend Picks and also artist Jeremiah Kalleck. You can find links to our sponsors and more at the Metal Bob Live website. There you can also find links to the latest Metal Bob gear, including shirts, hoodies, and more. On today's show, I had the honor of speaking with frontman Jason McMaster. We discuss Broken Teeth, Igniter, and we talk all things Dangerous Toys. So sit back, have a listen, and enjoy the show. Thank you. Hello, Jason.
Good morning.
How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm just trying to not step in it. How about you?
I like that. I'm not trying to step in it either, brother. I like that.
Yeah, just moving forward, not backward.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. What do you knee deep in right now?
Well, I'm knee deep in a Jason McMaster interview, brother. I was looking forward to this.
Well, that makes two of us.
Thank you so much for your time tonight. I really appreciate it.
Oh man, of course.
You know, I got a little story about you later, but I'll tell that later on in the program. But I just would like to thank you for your time, and I'd also like you to, before we get into the Dangerous Toys stuff, I'd like you to tell everybody a little bit about Igniter.
Okay, well let's cover all of it, not just Igniter, because there's a shit ton.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Igniter has a new record coming out on Halloween. I don't know if it's proper for me to tell you. I don't know if anyone's going to be able to get it on Halloween because of the state of the world right now, but it is officially being released on Halloween. It's called The Golden Age of Black Magic. It for people who don't know me other than what I'm most known for, which is being a pain in the ass. The band Igniter has been around for a long time. There are two records that don't have me on it. Erica is a fantastic vocalist and a friend of mine. And she moved on after the first two Igniter records, and a couple of those guys weren't in another project with me, and we were over there working on something, and I said, how's the Igniter, singer auditions going? And not really giving any hints at all, honestly. And they just started laughing, And I said, oh, that's not good. But I decided that I said, I'm already over here. Let me help you with the record. If you guys have new material, I hate to see you guys in such limbo because I was a fan, And they said, that'd be awesome. So we started collaborating a little bit, and well, long story short, I just stayed. I fell in love with the stuff that Stuart was writing, the guitar player, the kind of mastermind behind it all, and I stayed. And I've been here 10 years plus or something. I don't know who's counting.
Right.
So so I'm on about six albums with those guys now, and this new one is on an Italian label called Metal on Metal Records, and I think they're fairly new, but they do all of the European metal festivals, Keep It True and Bang Your Head and all that, and I think that they were more or less are like a vendor. They sell vinyl and shirts and belt buckles and albums and things like that, but they had probably released some of their friends' records and they just turned it into a label. So we're kind of excited to be, brand new with someone who's brand new. And it's all kind of tingly feeling. But the record is it's classic heavy metal. You know, it's dark, and as you can tell by the title, it's a little bit retro, you know, and throwback to Merciful Fate and Dio, and you know, some early '80s thrash metal, and of course Judas Priest and Iron Maiden, and it's leather and studs and fire and rituals and black magic. You know, it is a lot of fun. And if you like any of those kinds of things, you know, some of it even sounds like old Scorpions and Rainbow. You know, it's old school metal. So if you like that kind of thing, check it out. Igniter, the Golden Age of Black Magic. There's a video on YouTube right now. You just got to look it up. Golden Age of Black Magic. It's hard to miss.
Right on, man. Thank you for that. So, quick question though. So, will there ever be a new Dangerous Toys record? That is one of my huge questions.
Well, we're you know, we started writing after years and years and years of me saying, you know, why make a new Dangerous Toys record? I really think that, you know, for the most part, there's 90% of an aging demographic that really just wants to hear the first album. And even more specific, Teasin' Pleasin' and Scared and Sportin' Woody, and they want to hear it so they can relieve the babysitter, you know, because, you know, that's what I would want to do. You know, I really like the early slot, you know, when you do clubs, you know, and that's just an age thing. You know, I'm not 19 anymore, and you know, it's interesting because I've always been a heavy metal fan and a hard rock fan, and you know, it's interesting just becoming the gentleman instead of the snot-nosed kid, and trying to write lyrics, you know, as an elder gent about your dick and the devil. is kind of, you know, you're not a snot-nosed kid anymore. You can get away with that when you're a punk, but it's a little different when you're a little bit more responsible. But it's fun, you know, and so that's important. So to really answer your question, it's been a couple of years ago now that maybe it was kind of a little hint of a midlife crisis or something, but I felt like, well, shit, the Toys aren't going to get asked to go on those cruises anymore. We're not going to get asked to play those festivals anymore if we don't put something out, right? So it was a business reason at first, and then I thought, well, you know, that 5% or whatever of fans, they'll buy it. You know, they'll think about buying it, or they'll buy it. Wow, Dangerous Toys! Wow, those dudes are still alive. You know, that's kind of my mentality of it as well. But I will say this: me and Scott have started to, you know. Anyway, 2 years ago, we decided to start. Okay, we're going to do it, and we all put our brains together, and there wasn't a whole lot of energy in the idea of writing. You know, basically, because I feel like my hypothesis there a second ago was is kind of correct. It's hard to just write this cock rock boogie woogie heavy rock song that, you know, that has a dark theme or, you know, some inappropriate, you know, idea behind it when you're, you know, pushing 60. You know, so shouldn't we be writing country songs like everybody else right now, you know? And actually I have started to write country songs. So all hell is broken loose and frozen over. So, but me and Scott recently opened up that can of worms again because, you know, COVID hit and all that, and really slowed things down. And some other things happened prior to that I won't get into that were personal to members of the band that really slowed things down. And but me and Scott, even just over the past 3 weeks, we started warming up some of the newer songs, and we're excited about it again. So who knows, man? But there is new material. You just don't have it.
Well, I'm really hoping you put it out, man. And here, can I give you my take on the whole thing, dude?
Sure.
I respect, whatever you guys got going on and this and that. And I respect the country thing, because country, there's nothing wrong with putting out country material, but Dangerous Toys should have been up there with bands like Rat, Motley Crue. Now, before you stop me, it's going to give you my reason, dude. That first record, Hellacious Acres, that stuff was great. It was huge. It was hard. It was heavy. I never seen you guys as hair metal. I seen you guys as heavy metal. I mean, that first record's pretty hard. Do you agree?
It is different than Warrant.
Yeah,
it is different than Faster Pussycat. It is different than L.A. Guns. But see, I even look at L.A. Guns as kind of a metal band. Sure, they had their songs that were in the same sort of color and light as some of the Toys things. And I think that Toys and L.A. Guns are actually a pretty damn good fit. Because L.A. Guns is not really like Rat, and they're not really like Cinderella, and they're not, I even think Cinderella is like their name. I think as much as that's a classic name, because it's actually makes you think about something, and it makes you think about the story of Cinderella. So it's kind of a rock and roll story, because she was kind of a peasant. She went to the ball and magic and da 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 and all this shit. She got to. It's kind of a, it's a great story.
Absolutely.
But the name does not fit that band.
Right.
And the look of the band on that front cover, Jesus, what hit those guys?
Exactly.
Because when you hear the song, dude, the song Night Songs, that's fucking metal.
Absolutely, it is.
That's so crushing. Yeah. It's so heavy.
And I appreciate you saying that, because that's what brings me to what I wanted to tell you was L.A. Guns is like my all-time favorite.
Cool.
And my very first concert when I was 15 years old, and I had a conversation with Andy Corder not too long ago, a few weeks ago, we talked about Dangerous Toys, Tour, L.A. Guns on the Cocked and Loaded tour.
Summer 89. Actually, fall of 89.
Absolutely. Yeah. Dude, that was one of the fucking coolest shit that I'd ever seen.
Yeah, that was like 31 years ago month.
It was, brother. Makes me feel young again, and I appreciate that, man. Because I'll tell you right now, that was one of the, to this day, and I've seen thousands of shows since then, and it was my very first show. I was 15 years old, but that was one of the greatest rock shows I'd ever seen. Tour, Dangerous Toys, L.A. Guns. That was a rock show, brother.
What venue?
Adler Theater, Davenport, Iowa.
Yeah. Wow. Man, those were good times.
Man, brother, you guys, and I also got to see you open for Judas Priest on Hellacious Acres too.
What venue?
Cedar Rapids, Iowa, 5 Seasons Center.
Oh yeah,
I think it was Alice Cooper, Dangerous Toys, and Judas Priest.
Yeah. Motorhead and Metal Church. They couldn't afford all 5 bands. The ticket sales were a little loose, I think, and they just couldn't accommodate or something. And I think Motorhead and Metal Church did a couple of one-offs on their own. And then they joined us a couple days later or something.
Right on.
Yeah, I remember that gig. There was a friend of mine from Minnesota drove over to see that one. And that was in like a little arena thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a couple thousand people, I think. The Adler Theater gig was, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I talked to Anthony about that, man. He told me that was one of the funnest tours he'd ever been on, man. He spoke very highly of you, man. We had a really good conversation about that tour.
Well, he's a very special person, and all you got to do is have a sit down with him one time, and you realize he's all about the freedom and art, and he's kind of like a redneck hippie kind of a vibe,
right?
You know,
right.
And he's so sweet. And he was like 20 years old or something when he was on that tour.
Yeah, that band was very young back then.
Yeah, we were all pretty damn young. I think I was 22, 23 maybe. But you know, that was pretty cool that they got to do that at such a young age and get a deal and hit the road and move some records. You know, it's pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
I call it the class of '89. You know, there was quite a few of us
that was a great year, brother. That was a great year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not just rubbing your back, brother. I'm telling you that them Dangerous Toys records, they still hold up. I was listening to Self-Titled today at work, man, and my boss, he rolled over and goes, "What are you listening to?" I said, "It's Dangerous Toys, man." And he's just back there. He's like, "This sounds really good." I said, "Brother,
awesome.
Look them up, man."
Awesome. Well, what about the records after those two records?
Oh, man, I loved Hellacious Acres, Pissed, artist formerly known as. They're all great, brother. They're all great.
Yeah, I think that the fan favorite here, if you can get past the mountain that is the first record, because I understand how that works. Pissed is the one that people go to immediately.
That's a great record.
They like Hellacious Acres or they love Hellacious Acres, but they still will pick Pissed over those records. And I'm not saying everyone does that, but there is quite a portion of our demographic that goes right to that Pissed record. And you know, it might be a thing where that should have been our second record, or you know, some of that record could have possibly been on Hellacious Acres,
right?
If we would have just waited a little while longer, because I feel like Hellacious Acres, about half the record is cooked, and the other half is like not quite got enough salt and pepper on it.
Okay. But
but you know, that's coming from a different. I'm biased, right? Because you didn't live with the material, and you know, you weren't there when it was being made, and you know, the attitude that you have about all of the things, that the ingredients that I just mentioned, does have something to do with, you know, how you feel about it later when it comes out. And it's, you know, honestly, some of it just feels a little half cooked.
I get you, man. I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you were writing the material, you guys were, you know, recording the material. But man, I tell you, don't sell Hellacious Acres short, man, because good Lord, man, when you got to line up, when you did that shit is killer, dude.
That's one of the songs on there that is strong. And you know, Best of Friends.
Best of Friends is a great song. I got a lot of friends that we, you know, that means a lot to us too. So
yeah, well, that's awesome. Now listen, Give Me No Lip was like written, you know, that could have been on the first album. That's how old Give Me No Lip is.
Okay.
It was officially written after we had already recorded the first Toys record, but it was in the same breath as all of the, you know, that shit that was going on. It fits the timeline. It just was. It's just safe to say that record, you know, if something would have held up, you know, the recording of the first record, Give Me No Lip may have replaced something like That Dog. You know, it may have. But see, we already had Sportin' Winnie, and Give Me No Lip and Sportin' Winnie kind of have the same boogie, you know?
Absolutely.
Shuffle groove, you know? So And maybe having two of those on the first record may have been, who cares?
Right.
But anyway, Give Me No Lip, yeah. Best of Friends, Line 'Em Up. Sugar, Leather, and the Nail. Angel and You. Maybe Gunfighter.
Oh.
But dude, after that, I'm kind of losing you. You know what I mean? Like the songs I just mentioned from Hellacious, the other, the redheaded stepchildren, the B songs instead of the A songs. I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
I think that they came off a little weird.
Wow.
But that's okay, man. We were young and green and still figuring it out, and no one teaches you how to write songs. You just write a bunch of shitty ones until they're not all shitty.
Well, I'll be honest with you, man. I don't have a problem listening to that album from beginning to end. I think it's all good stuff. But
nice.
I will say this though: the first album, and I know that you get a lot of this, but you go back to the first album, you released "Teasin' Pleasin'," "Scared." Those were your releases.
Mm-hmm.
But Jesus Christ, honestly, man, I mean, you could have released "Queen of the Nile." You could have released "Outlaw." These were some killer fucking songs. Killer. Yeah. I mean, that whole album really from beginning to end just hits hard.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of it was just make sure we let everyone know that we have a bad attitude and they'll like the music.
Well, I knew that the first time I seen you play. I'm like, these guys are, they're the real deal.
Yeah.
And what better tour to be on with Torn, LA Guns, two other bands that were not hair bands. You guys were rock and roll bands.
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear. It's awesome to hear you say that. And I don't know who coined the phrase hair metal, but you know what?
Either, but I don't like it.
No, I think that it's you don't call AC/DC hair metal.
No.
So I don't know, man. I just think that a lot of the sort of glam rock bands that were really pushing the envelope on the hair and the makeup and the clothes and all that stuff, I think that there's a place for that, because
Absolutely.
That kind of goes along with, man, there's, it's fine. Let's piss off our parents and dress up in panties and shit,
Yeah, and I'm not taking nothing away from some of those bands. They were great, man. They were good songwriters. We talked about, you said Warren earlier. Janie Lane was a great songwriter, man.
Oh, man, amazing musician.
And it's but hair metal, dude, Dangerous Toys wasn't hair metal. LA Guns wasn't hair metal. Toro was not hair metal.
No, not hair metal. Twisted Sister, not hair metal. Yeah. Tons of bands, not hair metal.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah. So we've established that. What do we got? What else you got,
buddy? I got whatever you want to talk about, man. I'd love to know. We know we got So what brought on Broken Teeth, man? I know that was shortly after Dangerous Toys. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, the first Broken Teeth came out in '99. We are 21 years old. We've got about 9 records out. And people still call it Jason's new band. But that's unfortunate that they see it in the shadow of other things. But it's not their fault. But I know people who, there's a loyal following, still fairly underground. We're okay with that. We did a whole lot of touring in the early to mid 2000s, and then the price of fuel skyrocketed to diesel was like $5 a gallon or something, and
right,
man, that just hurt, and because we were self-financed, we were trying to keep money in the bank and not spend it on just getting to the fucking gig, because we weren't really making a lot of money, and it wasn't about that really. So,
right.
Writing a great rock and roll song and continuing to do that when rock music was a little bit confused sounding, in my opinion, in the mid to late 90s. I heard some rock bands that were not really throwback, but they were just good, strong, loud, dirty rock and roll. I think it was, like I could say Buck Cherry. Let's say Buck Cherry, right?
Right.
So they break out in its mid to late 90s or whatever it was. I don't recall it. That's not important. And I was like, well, that's done correctly. If I had to be the professor of rock for a second, I was like, well, that's done correctly. But I also didn't want to see another, heavy set dude with eyeliner on trying to play rock and roll, and specifically calling himself, hair metal. And I just started calling it eyeliner rock. And I was like, it shouldn't be about hair and eyeliner, and it shouldn't be this. And I got not angry, but it made me want to write some songs that were true to what Twisted Sister and AC/DC and Motorhead and old Judas Priest and things like that were more about. And it was more about the song and the song being sung into your soul, and not that it was not hot topic rock and roll.
Absolutely.
If you know what that means.
Right. It should be more about the song. It should be more about the music, the musicianship.
Yeah, I don't know so much about the musicianship. I'm talking 3 chords,
right.
Just really, really bluesy and very simple. And, the singer is, talking to you about how your mom was afraid you were going to go out and get laid.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I guess what I was trying to say was, though, seriously, let's cut the shit, though. There was the musicianship in the 80s was amazing. You guys were...
It was a lot. It's, the musicianship from the 80s is in the 90s and the 2000s. They're still here.
They are still here, but
yeah.
I feel like that whole look and the long hair and all that shit got overshadowed by a lot of that stuff. The musicianship got overshadowed by a lot of that stuff.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
As a fan, I seen what I seen. I seen the music. I seen the lyrics. I seen the vocals. I seen the harmonies. I didn't see the long hair and the makeup. I didn't see none of that. I seen musicianship. That's what I seen.
Well, that's awful nice of you, but, if you come out looking like you just got off of work, usually the show's not very good. And I think that's where a lot of the newer music, when it was new in the 90s, was coming from. I think that you saw a lot of clean-cut people, and it went back to, AC/DC never really had like a uniform or anything other than Angus. And Angus is like a front man. Even though he's the guitar player, he's like a front man. I think when you think of Van Halen, you think of Eddie, but there's a front man in the band too, So I think AC/DC had that. I think Van Halen had that, but there was also a little bit of clothes and hair going on with Van Halen. In AC/DC, they had the songs, and no one sounded like that. I like hearing, the bands AC/DC was actually opening for in the 70s talk about AC/DC. Like, I've heard Gene Simmons talk about them. I've heard Van Halen talk about them. It's like, dude, no one sounded like that. They were like this blues band. The closest thing to AC/DC as far as the formula they're using is Motorhead. Okay, we're just going to play blues, but it's going to be really nasty, and it's going to be really loud, and some of it's going to be really fast. But it's just, we're just playing the blues.
Right.
And that's what I wanted to do with Broken Teeth. And I think I succeeded. I got my friends together. We wrote some songs. We just started making records, and we never stopped. I mean, we sure, it takes us 2 or 3 years to put out a fucking record, but, we got to work.
Absolutely.
We can't just sit or put out a record and do a tour and not make any money and then wonder why we did that and then go back to work and, we've got some new shit. So, oh, great, we're going to do it again. And life gets in the way sometimes.
It does.
And that life getting in the way is what you need in order to recharge your muse.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
And I'll tell you, I was a big wrestling fan back then. I remember that song you guys did, The Undertaker, and that was fucking cool.
Yeah, the original lyric about The Undertaker was, I'm not a wrestling fan whatsoever. I could give a shit. Sorry if I'm stepping on.
I was a wrestling fan. I can't handle it anymore, brother.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of my friends who are wrestling fans. So, and they think that I might be a wrestling fan because of The Undertaker, and when they finally break down and ask me or read the right interview, they realize that, oh, he's not a wrestling fan at all. So I saved face. I wrote the lyric Undertaker. I wrote it about this bad motherfucker who goes out and digs up graves. I'm this close to saying he's a necrophiliac,
Right on.
So he's this bad motherfucker that hangs around in the graveyard, and he's the spook in the graveyard, he's the ghouly, scary guy. He's the boogeyman. I was writing a song about the fucking boogeyman. So here I have the song called The Undertaker that's about the boogeyman living in the graveyard. He's the caretaker. And then I realize I'm in the studio about to cut the track. And I realize it hit me like a ton of bricks, and I felt so puny and small and stupid. Because I knew who the wrestler was. I heard of The Undertaker before. So I rapidly changed only 3 lines and maybe a word here and there to make it be just for a moment here and there about the wrestler.
Okay.
So I can save face, because if I wouldn't have done that, everyone would have still thought, people would have thought, oh, you wrote a song about the wrestler. Before they even hear the fucking song, they're going to see the fucking title and go, oh, you wrote a song about the wrestler. And I'm like, fuck you, it's not about the wrestler, fucking, that sucks. Instead of all of that, I just let it go and let it be about the wrestler, because, you can't change people's minds.
Right. So originally it wasn't about the wrestler. You didn't intend it to be about the wrestler. Okay.
No, I just made it. In a flash, I made it be about the wrestler so I could save face and not have to eat crow.
Well, I wouldn't have gave a shit if it was about him or not. I just assumed it was, just like everybody else.
Well, everyone, you would have, whether I would have done it or fixed the lyrics or not, everyone would have assumed it. That was my point. So me knowing they were going to assume that, I made it be about the wrestler.
Well, the song kicks ass.
Even though originally it's not. Thank you. There's rarely been, maybe in 20 years, there's rarely been a Broken Teeth show where we didn't play that song. And that's pretty cool. I mean, it's kind of like, it's probably not cool that I do this, but it's like, Metallica playing a gig and not playing Seek and Destroy,
Right. I get you.
It's rare. Yeah.
God damn it.
But the newer Broken Teeth shit is probably my favorite, and I'm not necessarily saying that because it's newer, but I think it's just as strong. And but it's just harder to get people into it, for whatever reason.
Well, that's their loss. That's the way I look at
it.
I
agree.
So.
They're waiting for they want to be spoon fed. They want to follow a trend. They don't know that they follow trends.
No, I know that, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
dude, I'm a rock and roll fan. I'm a metal fan, dude. I look for the stuff. I mean, it doesn't have to be right in front of my face to find it. I will find it, and
yeah, it's usually the stuff you like is going to usually bubble up to the top, And I think that if you find a band and a sound that you like, surely you're going to look further than just the one record you found.
Absolutely.
Oh, what's their new shit like? Oh, what's their old shit like?
Right.
I mean, I did that with every band that I fell in love with. I went forward, I went backward, I figured it out, And then I realized, that there was certain eras that I was going to adhere to and always feel like this era, they're speaking my language. And then something happened, and then this era is not really speaking to me. Oh. It's like Van Hagar was not really speaking to me.
Okay.
And I love Sammy Hagar, but Van Halen with Hagar, and it wasn't really my cup. I liked it a little dirtier and a little bit more. I need more devil.
I get it. And I'm kind of with you. I mean, I like both versions of the band. I mean, they both have their purpose on this earth, man. And it's like,
well, of course. I mean, Sammy, talk about a band full of excellent songwriters.
Oh,
I mean, they sold more records with Sammy in the band than they did with Roth in the band, and I know that's hard to understand.
Yeah,
but it's true.
It is true.
Yeah.
So speaking of Van Halen, man, how did it? I mean, obviously Eddie's death affected us all in a huge way. How would you collaborate on that?
I think that getting old, and when you're someone's hero, you're not worried about, I have to stay alive, I'm someone's hero. When you're fighting cancer, just sucks. Cancer kills my friends.
Absolutely.
Cancer kills my heroes. This year has been terrible for heroes.
Absolutely.
And every year. I mean, a lot of my heroes are gone now. And I don't want Elton John to ever die. I don't want Steven Tyler to ever die. I don't want Brian Johnson to ever die. There's all these old as fuck dudes that are in their 70s and shit that I don't want them to die.
I 100% understand what you're saying, dude. I get it, man. And it, I've always been a Van Halen fan, and I always understood what Eddie meant to a lot of musicians, but it never really hit me until I heard the news. And then it affected me a whole lot different than I thought it would. I was super sad, dude. I was like, Eddie Van Halen just died, and it took me a while to process that.
Yeah, it's affecting a lot of people faster than it is affecting them slower, because of the crazy, like, feverish posting that happened, like, in the first day or two that the news hit.
Right.
And the COVID thing is just killing music already. I mean, it wasn't like people are upset because they're not going to see Eddie Van Halen play live on stage again. They're upset because they're never going to see Eddie Van Halen on Saturday Night Live again.
Right.
They're not going to see Eddie Van Halen do anything anymore.
Yeah, we were cheated out of a lot of music this year, man, and and I was very fortunate, last summer, before all this shit started, not even last summer, last fall, I got to see one of my heroes, John Prine, play, and we lost him this year, and that was another thing that was just killer to me, dude.
Yeah, well, it's not over. I mean,
it's not over.
I mean, people die, and there's not really any way to do that. So, I think that obviously Eddie Van Halen is immortal by way of what he did for the world, as well as his band. I mean, Van Halen is, I don't really have to elaborate on that.
You don't. No, absolutely not.
Ronnie James Dio, you could say the same thing. Lemmy from Motorhead, you can say the same thing. There are a lot of heroes that are not here in a physical sense any longer, and Eddie Van Halen is one of those guys that's like, I didn't ever think about, I wish Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin and I wish they were alive, so just in case I get to meet them someday. It's like, that's selfish, right?
Right.
But on the other hand, I think of it like this. I think of it like, they're alive because I never knew them in a physical sense. I only knew them in a metaphysical sense. So when you look at everything like that, nothing dies. And I think that when you're thinking about great songs and great musicianship, thank God there is recordings and memories of concerts and videos and I guess I'm saying thank God for YouTube. Roundabout way, that's what I'm fucking saying.
Absolutely, man. I thank God for YouTube every day. I mean, I've discovered shit that I never knew existed because of YouTube.
Yeah, it's kind of important to art culture right now. And people aren't even thinking about it. They're thinking about it as a monetary sense, because it is. It's all ads. It's all, YouTubers, these these people who make videos of themselves, wanking off on video games, and kids watch it and give them money to do it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. So when there's that, YouTube is like kind of like, it's a genesis, and it's also going to be our demise. I have a feeling, because it's going to replace, it's already replaced live music, because people are, they're streaming everything.
Right.
And then if they stream it on Facebook Live or all these other platforms, then it's on iTunes, then it's on YouTube, then it's forever. And that's just another way that everybody's becoming immortal, if they're already an icon or an underground, YouTube sensation, all the way back up to someone's hero.
Right. And I get that, man. The only reason I even appreciate YouTube at all is because it has helped me discover things that I may not have discovered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
no,
and
I'm not saying anything bad about it.
No, and me neither. But I also understand where you're coming from too. I get it 100%, man.
Yeah.
One way or the other, man, something's got to give, and it's bad.
Right. Well, there's absolutely nothing going to replace a room full of headbangers.
Oh, hell
no. With a band on stage playing loud rock and roll. There's nothing going to ever replace that.
Absolutely.
Streaming concerts is like, photo day at high school.
Yeah.
Next.
Man, dude, I haven't seen a concert in 10 months, and I'm losing my freaking mind.
Well, there's no audience. You're streaming your show, and there's no one in the room.
Yeah.
You're not feeding off of any energy other than your own.
I know it.
That's hard work, for a performer to just kind of entertain the idea that someone's sitting there watching you in the comfort of their easy chair. And that's almost makes me say, I'm calling bullshit.
It is, because you can't, that eye-to-eye contact means a lot to performers, brother. I'm a performer.
How can I sing about the devil into your soul, looking into your eyes on a streaming concert?
You can't.
It's not the same. There's, you don't feel the music when you're watching a streamed show.
Right. And I'm a performer myself, Jason. I sing, I play in live bands, and it's just, things have just been not the same for a long time.
It's pretty fucking weird.
It's very weird, brother.
Yeah.
Very weird. Very, very weird.
But I do all these other projects, and a lot of them don't play live anyway. So I already had sort of my my lockdown, bands I was already doing before there was any kind of pandemic. I have this project that's really slowed up since the pandemic, but there's 2 records out. It's a band called Howling Sycamore. Have you heard that?
Dude, I've heard of it. I don't know if I've heard any of the tracks.
Yeah, it's pretty scary.
So this is you. This is you. Who else is in that band?
Well, Marty Friedman, who was once in Megadeth, and
right
he was in the early '80s. He was in a band called Hawaii.
Okay.
That I was a fan of. But anyway, he plays a solo on one of the songs on the second record, but he's not in the band. I just wanted to mention that so I could, put some blood in the water.
Right on.
So, this man named David Tiso, he's an Italian guitarist, and he lives in San Francisco now, but he had a band from Italy called Ifal Duath, EPHAL, I believe. Duath, second word, DUATH. Might be an E on the end. Anyway, I think they were a little bit like progressive black metal, maybe.
All right.
Don't quote me on that, but definitely progressive. They were on a bill with my band who did a reunion show, my old band before Dangerous Toys, called Watchtower. Watchtower played a festival in Amsterdam in 2004 called the Headway Festival, and Ifal Duath was on the bill. I never met this man. Funny thing is, to this day, even though I've made 2 full-length records on Prosthetic Records, that's the label, with this man, I still have yet to meet this man.
Wow, that's interesting.
How weird. Yeah, it's very, very strange.
Yeah, buddy.
I've talked to him on the phone, 100,000 times, and we wrote these songs together via the internet, and I recorded all the vocals for both records here in Texas, and he had drummers in Germany and Italy record drum tracks for him. It was really a lot of work. His wife wrote some lyrics. Her name is Karen Crisis, also Italian. I think she has a group called Circle of Witches. And the lyrics are such a trip. And they wrote all the lyrics. I wrote all of the melodies. There were suggested, verse and chorus, bridge places they maybe wanted me to sing, but ultimately they let me just sing wherever I wanted, especially on the second record.
Okay.
The first record is self-titled. The second record is called 7 Pathways to Annihilation. And that's the record with Marty on one of the songs.
All right.
And the shit is a trip. It is like, listen to it with headphones on. It will hurt your brain for a moment, but there's light at the end of the tunnel.
So how can I get a hold of some of this?
It's all on YouTube, my man.
Okay.
It's on iTunes. It's on YouTube. It's out there. It's for sale on Bandcamp. I think we were let go from Prosthetic just pre-pandemic, actually. Not for any real reason other than they probably just didn't have much budget.
And what was the name of that project again?
Howling Sycamore.
Okay, Howling Sycamore. And we can find this on
right.
YouTube. We can find it on iTunes. And
yeah, it's out
all
there.
The vocals on this.
That is correct.
Awesome.
Every voice you hear is mine.
Nice. All right, on.
And it is very strange.
No, dude, I'm all about it.
It's progressive. It's there's some balladeering moments. If you read the lyrics, while you listen to the music. It's one of those. It's very heady. It's pretty much the opposite of everything we've pretty much been talking about as far as Broken Teeth and Dangerous Toys go.
Right on.
I also have a band that I just put together because we have 3 records out. It's been going on since around the time I joined Igniter, since about 2007, I believe. Called Evil United.
Okay.
And Evil United has a self-titled record out. We have a second record called Honored by Fire. And then we have fairly recently on David Ellison's label, EMP Label Group, which the last Igniter record and the last Broken Teeth record were both on. That newer Evil United record is plainly called Serpent. And you can get these, they're still available. But the box set is really cool, and I'm selling those myself. And if you find our website, if you find the evilunited.com website, you can buy our 3 CDs for pretty damn good price, if you ask me. And it comes in a cool box, like a box set.
evilunited.com.
And so, between Broken Teeth, Evil United, Igniter, Howling Sycamore, and everything else that I've been doing, I don't know where else to go. I mean, I've got unfinished business sitting there at my desk at all times, because with the things me and Scott from the Toys are trying to finish up, to brand new Broken Teeth material, to brand new Igniter material. Nothing pressing on Evil United, but I wrote some country songs. One of them is going to be on a new country artist who's actually a cock rock singer in Los Angeles. His name is Tyler Heath.
Okay.
Tyler Heath is originally from Oklahoma, so he's got the country in him. And but he looks like Sebastian Bach, but he sings and has the attitude of Jason McMaster. If I don't awesome. Say so myself.
No, dude, you're the man, brother.
he made a country record, and he invited me to put a song on it. And so I wrote a song called Baby Bird, which is going to be on there. I'm extremely proud of it. And it's Lonesome Cowboy all the way. It's old outlaw Lonesome Cowboy shit, Willie Nelson style shit.
Right on.
And I'm planning on writing some more songs with Tyler for another record, but Tyler also covers Promise the Moon by Dangerous Toys.
Yeah.
He does like a little country version of that song, which is it's already kind of country anyway.
Well, that's awesome.
So that's Jason. Both on. I can't remember what Tyler's record is called, but it's coming out pretty soon. I think it's called Tales of a Tenacious Tenderfoot or shit like that. Yeah. Tyler Heath, Tales of a Tenacious Tenderhoof.
Well, Jason, while I got you on here, man, is there anything else you'd like to promote? You want to throw anybody out your website, anywhere they can find you guys on social media? Any of that stuff?
Well, they can learn a lot about a lot of anything McMaster at jasonmcmaster.net. If they just Google me, there is a lot of shit. I've been doing this a long fucking time, and it's not just one style, and it's not just one thing. I've got some Christmas songs on iTunes and CD Baby, just under my name, Jason McMaster. And they're legit Christmas songs. They're not, heavy metal Christmas or Twisted Christmas or Fuck Christmas or, balls deep in Christmas.
It's you
or
singing real
like that.
Christmas songs, brother.
Yeah, one of them's kind of like a Harry Connick Jr. thing, and one of them is kind of like has banjo and shit on it.
Oh,
kind
nice.
of like folky kind of a little thing. And that one's called Christmas Time. And then the latest one, which is still a few years old now, but I've got another one I'm working on. Before I'm dead, I hope to release a full Christmas album of Christmas songs that I've written, but it's not on my short list. It's on my long list. The later one that's kind of jazzy is called Merry Christmas, Everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on, brother.
And 'tis the season, I don't write Halloween music. Well, yeah, I guess you could say I do with Igniter and Evil United, because the shit's in Howling Sycamore too. The shit's scary.
That what else is scary, man? When you guys had a song on the Shocker soundtrack called Demon Bell.
Yeah, see, that's a good one too. Very fitting to the
great song, dude.
That song used to be called Dangerous Toys.
That's one of the coolest fucking soundtracks around.
Yeah, there's a lot of, there's some big hitters on there. I think that was just, somebody in like Alice Cooper's office just made some calls and called the publishing company, and the publishing company just rallied the troops, and they got Megadeth and Motley Crue and Kiss and Dangerous Toys.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Iggy Pop is on there, and it's, it's satisfactory.
It's a cult classic movie, too.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So,
yeah.
I was going to ask you, too. So, somebody had asked me, a buddy of mine asked me, his name's Jason Ian Petty. He had a question for you. He wanted to know where the song Scared came from.
I was, that was one of the 2 or 3 records that was actually written for the first album. I don't think we had that song till after we were signed. Shortly after we were signed.
So it was something like, it was quick. We had to come up with another single. Is that one of those things?
No. There was no pressure. It was just Scott had a riff and I had a lyric written down, and the lyrics kind of come from me just on a heavy Alice Cooper bender, and I was listening to all kinds of Alice Cooper, old and not so much new at the time, and shit, that would have been 88, so it was a lot of in my opinion, sorry Alice, but there was a lot of terrible Alice songs going. And then it got worse. By the time we were on tour with them, that Hey Stupid record, I was just like, oh my God, this is not the Alice that I love. The Alice I love is singing about dead babies and scary shit, and talking about teen angst, and, I love Generation Landslide and all the creepy shit.
Right. Because he did mention he thought there was a lot of Alice Cooper references in that song.
Well, they're all like almost everything in there is a reference.
Okay.
The first line is "Who's the man in the white vest?" Well, that's Alice Cooper in a white vest. It could be like when he comes out and sings "Elected" and he's wearing that white, that white tuxedo. It's also his straitjacket. Who is the man in the white vest? Well, that's a straitjacket.
Right.
See? So there's immediately it's Alice Cooper. As soon as I open my eyes in that song, it's Alice Cooper. I'm talking about how interesting it is that in horror shows, or when you see fire, or a scary movie, or just anything suggested that's causing some kind of discomfort for someone. People like to watch the car wreck and the train wreck. People rubberneck. They slow down. They want to see that gore, Now, it's much more fun when it's not real, but there's something still that happens. Your heart races. And I think that there's something about that. So that's how the idea of the chorus came about. I think I like being scared. I want to see these things happen more often. Because it makes my heart race. I think I like this,
Right.
Now it sounds like words of a serial killer or some shit, but I will comfort you all and say I've never been arrested. I am not, I teach kids. People leave their 7-year-olds with me all the time. So, I'm a music teacher. I am not a freak, but I love horror shows. I love scary things. I love Alice Cooper. Mic drop.
Right on.
So, I think that there is something crazy about the human psyche and, blood and gore and just, I love campy, weird, scary movies, but I'm also a crier. I'll watch some, I hate calling them chick flicks, but I'll watch some drama, a love story or something, just cry like a baby. I just love art.
Absolutely.
And I guess I'm a sensitive guy. But, there was something about Alice and the songs that, that I was listening to that were making me write these words down. I'm not saying I was possessed by the coop, but something was happening. And next thing I knew, I had these verses, and then I was just kind of missing a chorus. And it just kind of dawned on me that, well, I kind of like being scared. I think that the idea just hit me. And so I just started singing those words before I had even written them down. Right. Hey, man, I think I like I just started singing them.
Great.
Then something interesting happened. The record was out. I was out on the road. Hit Parader magazine had that Raider record part of the magazine where there would be another band that you wouldn't rate your own record. They would send you a CD. They would send a band that, a couple of CDs and hey, let's get other bands to review other bands, right? And then they record the interview with the, so, hey, we sent you Dangerous Toys. What'd you think? And they were like, they're listening to Scare. This is called Scare. Okay, let's listen to it. So it was the band Fifth Angel. Do you remember Fifth Angel?
Oh, yeah, I remember Fifth Angel.
Okay. So I don't know a whole lot about them. I think I heard a song or two, back in the day, and I don't remember them being too bad at all. I remember them being pretty good.
Yeah, they were a good band.
But anyway, they never bubbled up in my circle though. You know what I mean? I never had a chance to search them out, right? So anyway, Fifth Angel, they're in Raider Record and Hit Parader magazine. And I'm reading this shit. I'm like, holy shit, these dudes are reviewing Scared. And I'm reading it. You know what they said about it?
What's that?
They were like, yeah, this is pretty cool. Oh, wait a minute. This sounds like Rio from Duran Duran.
What?
Think about it. Do you know the song Rio by Duran Duran?
I know the name Rio. Yeah, I know the song.
Do you know the song Rio by Duran Duran?
Yeah, I know the song. But
her name is Rio, and she dances on the sand.
Not until you
just like that river through a dusty land.
Wow! And then I
think I like being scared, and I wish you all were there.
I hear it now.
Her name is Rio.
I hear it now.
I was like, God damn it, they're right.
But yeah, but I mean, it was intentional.
Well, I did, sometimes you don't realize that you stole something. Here's the deal. It's in a different key. It is not exactly the same. And it never hurt anybody. And I love Duran Duran. And that made sense to me when I read that, and I didn't get mad about it, and obviously Duran Duran didn't get mad about it. And no one thought it wasn't a direct hit. But I like it that those dudes pointed that out, because I think it's funny as hell.
It kind of is now that you think about it, but I mean, they didn't play a killer guitar solo like you guys did. So.
No, they had synthesizers and a wicked bass player.
They did, but I'm a metalhead.
Well, listen, listen. I could talk all night, but is there something you wanted to get me final words?
Brother, anything you want to talk about, I'm open to. Otherwise, we can shut her down. I mean, you've answered most of my questions, and I appreciate it. And
no, man, it was a pleasure, and it's nice to be invited to talk about just my life and my career and my music, and just being able to know that I've caused an emotional disturbance with a lot of people. Makes me very happy, because that's what music is supposed to do.
Well, you've also got me in a lot of almost got me in a lot of car accidents with that first album, just so you know.
Oh, you're gonna blame your bad driving on me?
Yeah.
Okay,
Jason,
I get it.
you know I'm bullshitting you, but yeah.
No, I know that.
But it gets very distracting when you got good stuff on the radio.
Yeah. No one wants to hear this, but I don't listen to music while I drive. It's very fucking weird.
It's very distracting.
Well, yeah, I don't listen to it. Sometimes, I'll backpedal a little bit. Sometimes, because I have a lot of like CDs, like hard to find ones and stuff, and I'll go, man, I really do I still have them? I'll go dig it out and I'll find some shit. And I'll go put that on, and that will make sense. That makes sense to me. Like if I'm listening to something, it's something that really is close to me, and it's something that I have to search out to listen to. I make it a ritual. I don't listen to the radio. If I'm oh man, do I have that? Go find it. I'll make a ritual out of it. So. I still have vinyl. I listen to vinyl. But when you got a song in your head all the time, when the voices are in your head all the time, you don't need a radio.
Right.
Like I could probably be on a deserted island without music and be fine, because I got it all. It's all in my head anyway.
Absolutely. Well, goddamn, Jason, I really appreciate your time tonight, brother. Man, it means a lot.
No, man, my pleasure. I'm glad that we got to talk, and I want you to, if there's one thing I need you to do, it's just really, really enjoy your weekend and be safe.
You too, brother, man. Appreciate you, dude. You're one of my favorite vocalists of all time, and I'll be sure to, to put all the links on this interview and make sure that people know where to find you.
Awesome. Thanks for that.
All right, Jason, you take care of yourself, man. Good talking to you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That concludes today's episode of the Metal Bob Live podcast. Please check our website for our sponsor links. Thank you for listening. Metal Bob out.